Welcome everyone to this Facebook Live. I'm Pei Chen, and with me we've got health and fitness expert, 8 times New York Times best-selling author. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
You know, just 8. Some people aspire to 1, but you know. So you thought, why not put out another book?
I thought, why not? I did. But I have to make one quick comment though. Before we talk about me, I see you haven't fired Kyle.
Kyle, if people remember from our last Facebook Live,
we were supposed to fire Kyle.
We had
you promised me you'd fire
really
Kyle.
wild technical issues.
Wild technical difficulties.
I actually even wondered if you might remember them because you do so many interviews. I'm like, she might forget.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
And there's Kyle. He's right over there.
Where's he going?
Where's he going? Kyle's trying to leave the building right now.
He's going to go get coffee.
And you're welcome. Kyle! Where are you going?
He's like the most popular guy on the Facebook Live now.
Yeah.
So this is the book that you have, The 6 Keys. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So it's Unlock Your Genetic Potential for Ageless.
Oh my gosh, you like
strength, health, and I did.
And this is the galley. Like this isn't even the book. This is like the pre.
This is the early book for people to like take a look at before they chat with you.
I do. Because you're a pro girl.
Very type A in many ways. We also want to let people know that they can ask a question.
Yes.
So because we are live, this is the beauty of it. If you want to ask Jillian a question, you can just leave a comment on the Facebook Live. I'll be looking down at this phone. This is not because I'm checking Instagram. It's because I'm looking at the questions that are coming up. And we do have several copies of Jillian's new book to give away. So for your chance to win, it's by asking a question on the Facebook Live, and then winners will be chosen at random later on. So let's start off with the fact that you've got 6 keys. This book is basically, it's an anti-aging book.
It is an anti-aging book, and not to be politically correct, but it isn't about being afraid to age.
Okay.
But it's about aging really well, right? Like, who wouldn't want to do that? Why don't you want to look great at 40, 50, 60, 70? Like, why wouldn't you want to stave off Alzheimer's as long as you possibly can or prevent it entirely? Can you please forgive me? I hear my 8-year-old dancing and singing in the background.
Why isn't she paying more attention to what her mother
She just went down. Baby, sweetheart.
Mom's working.
Darling, do me a favor. We're live over here. Just, you know what? If you could sing and dance right behind me.
Oh yeah, back here.
Yeah, just hook it up back here. Because it's you can clearly hear an 8-year-old singing and dancing.
She can have the lobby.
Right over there. Yeah, just take the whole floor.
Someone just warned security.
Yeah, you're all good.
Child running amok in the lobby and not to take her away because it's just a child of our guest.
I'm so sorry. I was like, that is my kid singing over our audio.
You're so in tune. Everyone's so in tune to their child's sound, right? It's like it's so distracting to you.
Forgive me.
No, that's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I could hear her dancing too. I just couldn't say anything.
Right, you're like, I think that's your kid dancing and singing on a school day. Clearly you've won Parent of the Year. That would be me.
Bring your kid to work day.
Yeah, it's actually Bring Your Kid to Work week this week. Yeah.
Even better. What a great place to start off, right? In Toronto. Yeah. So the book you're talking about why wouldn't people want to age better?
Yes.
And we all do. We're often really concerned with aging, but it's sort of from the outside, right?
Well, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look and feel your best. Whatever your reason may be, right? I mean, clearly one of my reasons is dancing behind that camera over there. I want to be around for her, and I want to set an example for her. Mm-hmm. I want to meet her kids and her kids' kids, God willing. But of course, I also still want to look good and feel sexy and confident and strong, and all those things matter, and I think I'm not alone in that. And I'm seeing 20-year-olds getting Botox because they're being preventative, and it's like, okay, love the effort, but like, misguided. Mm-hmm. And then I see a lot of 60-year-olds and 70-year-olds who are thinking it's too late. Right? Oh, it's too late. Right? Yeah, it's done, it's over. What's done is done. And it's like, it's never, ever too late. We can, in some cases, turn back the clock and even prevent gray hair, all of that, slow it down tremendously. So no matter what your age, if you want to look great and feel great for decades to come, that's what the book is about, and it's my own personal desire to do exactly that.
So let's talk, you touched upon some of that, the myths and misconceptions about aging. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the number one is it's a foregone conclusion. Aging is a slow descent into decrepitude, and it's become cultural, which is such a shame, first of all, because if you think back, in many cultures, the older you get, the more you're respected, right?
Yeah.
But in our culture, it's like, oh, you've passed a certain age. As a woman, it's 40. As a man, it's 50. And you're out the door.
Yeah.
You're obsolete. When that's where you're your most wise and you're most strong and you're most capable. So there's nothing in your genes that tells you to age or die. You got to ask, why do you? And it's those 6 keys, these 6 body processes that can work for us or against us in how well we age or how poorly we age. And then of course also it's your mindset. Like if you think, oh man, I'm older now and I'm getting more frail, and all of that is going to affect your behavior, and your behavior is going to affect what actually happens, right? It dictates the outcome of your reality.
So a lot of people, and as you were saying, we go, well, this is just what happens when you reach a certain age.
Exactly.
And you kind of just resign
You're
yourself.
exactly right. I get questions like, can I get a workout for 50-year-olds? And I'm like, what are you talking?
How would that be different?
Right, like what? There's no such thing. Like I'll give you a workout for a beginner.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'll give you a workout for somebody who's advanced. But there's no such thing as a workout for 50-year-olds. And then the minute you get into that mindset of, well, it must mean that I'm not lifting weight, or I'm lifting only a little bit of weight, or I'm not jumping around. Well, if you're a beginner, you're not.
Yeah.
The more advanced you get, you are. So when you stop engaging in those activities that you think you can't do because you're older, guess what it does? It actually ages you. You can see that not just the way you think, but of course, the way you feel, the way you act, all of these things become accumulative.
So, and you mentioned too, like 20-year-olds getting Botox, because for them that's they're preventing the aging process.
Right? I mean, I literally
I spend a lot on creams that say they're anti-aging.
Oh my God.
I spend a lot of money on this
I know,
stuff.
and they're
I've even
terrible
seen
for you.
Anti-aging
9 out
hair
of 10 of them.
products. So we are, and I think this
going
is
about it wrong.
This is
That's
a
all I'm
combination
saying.
of society, and I think social media is a big part of
100%.
it, right? So we're fighting. We don't want to look older, but I mean, as you
Which
pointed
is
out,
fine.
we're sort of doing
Which,
it
by the way,
backwards.
awesome. But you're doing it
Like
in
we're going
ways that are
outside in.
completely counterintuitive. Exactly right. So, like a lot of these creams, someone, all the time you get hit up, right, for social media, would you put this on your story? And I'd say 99 times out of 100, I say no. So I got this like skincare product sent to me, and of course I was like, great, send me the ingredients.
Was it made from like baby unicorns or something?
Mean, it was like phthalates, parabens, fragrance, chemical, and then it's like olive oil.
Right.
And I was like, you realize like all this stuff is actually making you older, right? Like your skin is transdermal, which means what you put on your body goes in your body, just like your food. And when you're putting all those chemicals on your skin, that's toxic stress. That's exactly one of the things you don't want to do. So it's just, we want to feel young and vital and look good, but we don't really know how to do it. And that's one of those other kind of misconceptions, is outside in, but it should be inside out.
So now the book is called The 6 Keys.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a little it's a little sciencey because it's science-based.
I know.
So is there a way to sort of sum up what they are?
Okay.
Because I know you consulted a lot of experts.
So the way the book works, because I am me and I do what I do, like I need to make sure that it's bulletproof with the information in it. So the first part of the book is explaining these 6 keys. So these are the 6 body processes, right, that can work for you or against you when it comes to your aging. So I have to explain it. I have to have the science in the book. Even in that section though, I explain like, look, if it's overwhelming or I'm losing you at any point, jump ahead to the plan at the end of the book. And in that I break down like these 5 areas you should focus on and improve upon. It's food, it's fitness, it's lifestyle, it's mind, body, it's environment. And that's a little easier, well, far easier to digest. But here's how I would break down the 6. Number 1, stress. So we tend to think of stress as a very bad thing, but in reality, exercise is stress.
Oh, okay, that's a good point.
So
Yeah.
stress comes from many different places. It could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be psychological, right? Oh my God, I'm going bankrupt, or I'm in the middle of a divorce, I have the flu, it could be all of these different factors. With that said, how you manage your stress will either make you better, stronger, more resilient, leaner, faster, or it can break you down and it can make you sick and ultimately kill you. So here's an example.
Right.
A woman goes to the doctor and he says, oh wow, you're starting to get osteoporosis or osteopenia, which is you're losing bone density. No good. What does he tell her to do? Probably make some dietary changes and then says workout. Why? Because exercise stresses the bone. So when we stress the bone, our second key, which is inflammation, goes in there and rebuilds the bone with new bone cells. All right, we've got an inflammatory response. We're going to heal, remodel, rebuild. The bone becomes denser, healthier, and younger. However, when exercise is too much and there's not the right amount of recovery, you get a stress fracture, a broken bone. So it's just an example of how stress can break you down or conversely build you up. And in this book, I teach you how to use that stress adaptation process to be your youngest, healthiest, strongest self. Second one, I mentioned inflammation. So again, we think of inflammation as a bad thing, and it can be.
It sounds like it is.
It can be.
Okay.
It can be. Inflammaging, right? You've heard these terms. Actually, inflammation is a great thing. Without it, we couldn't fight off the common cold. Without it, you couldn't fix a broken bone or heal a cut. So your body sends bone cells to a broken bone, right? It sends white blood cells to fight off a bacteria or a virus in this little war between your immune cells and the invading infection, and so on. However, and all of these keys, by the way, work like a symphony. They work in conjunction. So when one's out of balance, by the way, did you hear that sound? Kyle just screwed up over there in the middle of my, did you hear that? It's not my 8-year-old, it's Kyle. So, but that of course was to be expected. Sorry. So forgive me. Okay. So anyway, when inflammation becomes chronic, you've got this little army, right, looking for a fight. But if there are no bad guys present, it goes after healthy tissue. And this is when you get these autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, for example, skin conditions, and a host of other stuff that's bad. So keeping inflammation in check and utilizing it for immunity and repair is great, but making sure it's not chronic and out of control is critical. Third key, metabolism. And we think
this is a hot topic.
Okay, but it's not what you
wrong.
think. No, you're right. No, you're right. But what's so interesting about it is when I first, because I went into this book with no answers.
Right.
I thought I knew some, but as I began to learn and study, I was really surprised about so much of it, and metabolism is one of those examples. So for me, I thought I did write the book. It was called Master Your Metabolism. It was on the bestseller list for a friggin' year. I wrote the book.
You know everything.
I thought I did. And it actually that's a completely separate beast of weight gain, weight loss. When we're talking about anti-aging, it's about how your metabolism affects a body process, big fancy word, called autophagy, which means housekeeping. It's the process where your body goes in and culls the dead or senescent cells and tissue and recycles it, right? To make new skin cell, new bone cell. This is great. This is what we want. When you eat too much or you eat too often, you're inhibiting that process. So the cells and the dead tissue build up and a host of bad stuff happens. So this is when you look like crap, you feel like crap. This is what metabolism, the role that metabolism plays. So we begin to look at food timing and what's called calorie restriction. And calorie restriction means you don't eat more than you burn in a day and you don't eat less than you burn in a day. So yes, intermittent fasting is very beneficial. I had to do an about face on this because I always looked at fasting with regard to weight loss or weight gain, and I was like, it doesn't matter as long as you are creating a calorie deficit, you'll lose weight. It doesn't matter when you eat.
But you changed your mind.
It does when it comes to your age.
Okay.
Because of how it affects the culling of those dead cells. So fasting between dinner and your next meal the next day, between 12 minimum, 16 hours maximum, is the ideal fasting period. Fasting not to be confused with starvation. So these fasts that grab on to this science create diets like 500 calories, X amount of days. That's wrong, that's starvation. And what happens there is that autophagy process of going after dead cells starts to go after healthy tissue. The theme you'll see is balance across the board. So balanced meals, breakfast, 3 to 4 hours later lunch, 3 to 4 hours later snack, 3 to 4 hours later dinner, fast for 12 to 16 hours until breakfast the next day. And what's so crazy is that this has been around for thousands of years. It's called breaking the fast. Again, called breakfast.
So it's not that it's something new. We're not pushing a new fad, a new crazy way of eating that celebrities are endorsing.
It's going
to lose weight quick.
Which is we can get into keto. Yeah. I mean, we're 3 keys in. Let me know when you want to get into keto, because
I knew we would at some point.
I mean, I'll tell me when you want to jump into it. I can jump in now, or I can finish the other 3.
Tell me how much you love it. You have very strong opinions about keto.
They're not opinions. That's what's so frustrating. Is people are like, what's your take? I'm like, it's not my take. Like, I spent 2 years researching this book. Because again, I'm like, oh, first of all, there's huge industries behind this diet, right? Weight Watchers got behind the keto diet. That's a publicly traded company. Huge businesses, billion-dollar corporations that got behind this, because it's a trend.
Yeah.
So, okay, fair and fine. But for me, I have no investment. I could turn around and write a keto book, and I would sell way more copies than a book called The 6 Keys Eat a Balanced Diet. I mean, I could create keto supplements and keto bars, and I could ride that trend. But the science doesn't support it, and here's why. So, yes, when you go on keto, you will burn fat faster, okay? And we think of that as a plus. Sure, great. If you're trying to lose weight and you want to burn fat fast, it will help you do that. It will be faster. Second, if you have an insulin-related health issue, like type 2 diabetes, or you struggle with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which I myself struggled with as a kid, by the way, it will help reverse those conditions very, very quickly, because we're not eating any carbohydrates, or like less than 20 grams a day. So you'll get those benefits, and keto people hang their hat on that, and that's great. You're right. You're looking at one piece of a huge puzzle, though.
Right.
And what we're not looking at are all the negative side effects of the keto diet. So one of the next keys, by the way, your macromolecules, your cells are made up of, think about it, macronutrients, macromolecules, macro, proteins, fats, carbs. The quality of those macros, of course, matters, but your cells are made up of these 3 macronutrients and nucleic acids. If you're starving your body of one of those macronutrients, you are starving your cells. I did not say yourselves, your cells. And the way your cells function, the way they duplicate themselves, the way they communicate. Think about cancer. When cancer cells metastasize, they're communicating, spread out.
Right.
That's what's happening there. So again, we want this to work for us and not against us. So healthy macromolecules means we need to consume a healthy balance of high quality macronutrients. Beyond that, we get into micronutrients, right? Vitamins and minerals. When we're cutting out things like fruits or whole grains, unless you are meticulous with your keto and you're predominantly plant-based and you're making sure you're getting mostly polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats and not tons of bacon and eggs, which have a lot of saturated fat, which is bad for your telomeres, which is a key that I haven't hit yet. We know it shreds the hell out of our telomeres. We know it creates a tremendous amount of oxidative stress on our body, these animal fats. Unless you are completely plant-based keto, really watching your fiber, still managing calorie restriction, it's likely you're not getting enough fiber, which is critical for heart health, digestion, gut flora, which is linked to immunity, anti-aging. When you're not eating the fruits, it's really hard to get all of the antioxidants and the polyphenols that fight the bad guys and the free radicals and the digestive enzymes. Like, these foods are not the enemy. Quinoa is not the enemy. A black bean is not the enemy. Raspberries and apples and papaya, they're not. This is insane.
Right.
This is it's insane.
Do you think
I can't even. I can't just. I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown.
No, she does
It's
not
insane.
like the keto diet.
But it's like it's. And by the way, all the benefits that you get from keto.
Does not like it. This would be a crawl. Just FYI, Jillian Michaels does not approve keto.
But it's like you can get all those benefits from a balanced diet.
But wouldn't you?
I don't have type 2 diabetes. I reversed my PCOS. I was 170 pounds as a kid. all of that can happen eating balanced macros, watching your calories. That's the law of thermodynamics. You're not going to get around that one either, as hard as you try. Calories in, calories out, balanced macros, nutrient-dense foods.
But wouldn't you say
Done
that the people
here.
who are the people who advocate and push for keto are the ones who've had some success with it?
And yes.
What they don't look at, I would say, is they look at the short-term gain, but they don't look at how it affects their health long term.
They don't
it's like instant success.
Right, exactly,
therefore I cling to
exactly.
that.
You got it. And so the concern is that it's like, yes, I know you've lost 40 pounds. You realize we could have done that with diet and exercise as well.
You could do that just by drinking like pineapple juice for a
you
month.
could starve the weight off.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to do that either. But the thing is, like, I get that. But what you're not seeing is, like, when was the last time you had your telomeres tested, which protects your DNA? That's super duper important, those little telomeres and the end of your chromosomes. Like, when's the last time you looked at the health of your cells? What about your skin? What about your, like, how do you think all of this comes into play?
Right.
I mean, we're not looking at all of this stuff that's going on inside that's related to the health of your liver, the health of your thyroid, your gut flora, which boosts your immunity. Like, nobody's looking at that. It's, I lost 40 pounds and I reversed my type 2 diabetes. And it's like, I get it, and that is wonderful, and it's a huge accomplishment. However, we can do this in a healthier way.
Right, with less damage
with no
to our bodies,
side
right?
effects.
Right.
Exactly. Like, you don't see all the oxidative stress from the saturated fats and the animal proteins. And I was the first one that was like, doesn't matter as long as it's not hydrogenated oil or fractionated oil. But it does. It actually does. I mean, I didn't want to turn around and say I was wrong here, I was wrong here, I was wrong here. It just does. I mean, there are hundreds of studies cited in this book. Read them.
So
read them yourself.
For people who are either, toying with keto, thinking about it, have had some success, what I gather from you is that you have to consider the potential
if you
effects
care.
on your body.
If you care.
Right?
I mean,
Longer
and
term.
here's another thing. Like, I had a doctor that I respect very much write a 30-day keto plan for my app. And here's what we did. In it, we said, you can do this no longer than 30 days. You should really do this only if your health is in dire straits with something like type 2 diabetes. And we made it plant-based, tons of fiber. We restricted the calories, made it mostly polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. So we amended the hell out of it and then put a time limit on it of 30 days only. And that's the only way you should be engaging in this diet, is for very specific health reasons, in a very regimented way that is no longer than 30 days.
So that's a sort of almost adapted keto diet that.
Which, by the way, I could have written that book. It would have been a bestseller
It will be the next
overnight.
book.
It won't. I'm not doing
No,
it.
that's
It won't
not
do it.
gonna
I'm
be
not
it.
gonna. I already got
That's
hit
not
for
gonna
it.
be it.
I already. They were like, "What about this?" I was like, "Absolutely not."
It's like, I'm not going to go there.
No. And at the end of the day, here's the other thing. I don't care what people eat for breakfast or dinner or lunch. I care what I eat. I care what my family eats. I care what my loved ones eat. If you care the way I care, here's the information I found. That's what I do. I'm in the information business. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you. I just provide information. If you want to be keto, be keto. As one human to another, I recommend you look a little deeper than weight loss. I didn't like what I saw.
So I'm going to ask you one more question from someone who sent one in, because we've been talking so much about food.
Yeah.
What does a typical day of food look like for you?
Okay, let's look at some this morning.
Okay.
So I had plain, I hope it was organic. I'm at a hotel, so probably wasn't. It would normally have been organic Greek yogurt with mixed berries and whole grain granola. At home, I have like low sugar granola. Again,
Right.
at a
When you're
hotel.
traveling, it's a bit
I was at a
different.
hotel. And then for lunch, I had a like pecan, chicken, apple, avocado salad. There was like goat cheese in it. I had a cold brew coffee, and I haven't had a snack yet, but I'll probably end up having, there's this like, there's a bar called Nutso, this little, it's like mixed seeds and nuts,
okay.
all organic, so I get like my healthy fats, and I think it's got like, can't remember what flavors, I think it's like honey, so I'll have that, it's like a couple hundred calories. And then for dinner, we are going for Mediterranean food. Mediterranean diet,
nice.
which again, I have zero investment in. I make zero off of saying that. In fact, it's probably counterintuitive to my business as I have no Mediterranean diet. Nevertheless, we're going for Mediterranean food.
Okay.
Yeah, so probably the dips and maybe some protein greens with it as
Yeah.
well, but I'll definitely have some of the pita bread, 100%.
Oh, well, as you should. Right?
100%. And a glass of red wine. Had to do an about face on the alcohol thing too.
Oh, was that recent or?
Yeah, the book.
The book says red wine?
It doesn't just say red wine. How crazy is that? So for weight loss, alcohol is totally counterintuitive.
Right.
So I had to say, like, all right, if you're trying to lose weight, hold off. With that said, for longevity,
Hey,
up
you
to-
heard it here.
I could not. I like writing it. I was like, oh my
But were
god.
you not secretly a bit happy?
I was. It's just. It was kind of like, really. I mean, because for years, but it's dark alcohol, so you get
Yeah.
the most of the antioxidants and the polyphenols. So red wine, whiskey, dark beer, no more than like 2 drinks a night.
Okay. Doable, absolutely
And
doable.
it literally helps to remove the amyloid plaques from your brain that are associated with Alzheimer's. It helps with an enzyme in your liver so that your liver stays functioning optimally. I couldn't believe it. I literally was like, okay. But now I have a glass of red wine for dinner and I feel like I'm doing something
Look
good for
at you,
myself.
sacrificing for science.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, listen, I didn't want to write that. I wasn't like, you know what you should do is have a glass of wine. Yeah, I mean, so.
Well, that's the process of learning, right? And
It's-
it's how you came to write the book.
And I explained in the book, I said, listen, here's the deal with conflicting information. And it's like, how do you disseminate? So who funded the study? Once you get beyond that, what's the good stuff it's pointing out versus the bad stuff? How can you get the good without the bad? So with alcohol, if you're trying to lose weight, don't drink. When you're at a healthy weight, it's still drinking too much is related to ovarian cancer, breast cancer. So we do it in the right amount, no more than 6 to 8 a week, no more than 2 a night.
Okay, so it depends on what your goals are, right? So like weight loss is a bit different than
You
your
gotta take
health and aging.
all the information and then put together a game plan. But the way we do things nowadays is we get one piece of information and
we cling
think
to
that's
it.
the way. Yeah, fasting. I'm gonna eat 500 calories, 5 out of it. No.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming and spending time
Sorry, I
with
was
us.
crazy today.
No, I love it.
I'm
In
fired
case you
today.
didn't know, she doesn't like keto. Just in case that didn't come out at all,
I
it wasn't
just-
clear
I don't-
whatsoever.
just not
and so
good
your
for
book
you.
is out now. So the
Yes.
6 Keys is out now, and if you want to find all the secrets and all
Yes.
the ways that you could be aging
Hair's crazy.
well,
I'm losing my
aging
mind.
better, then this is the book for you. Thank you so much, Jillian. Really appreciate it. And if you want to catch
Did we get
whole
through this
video-
even with Kyle?
I know. I don't
Was
even know if
was
we've
the
been on.
image up right at the inside? Did anybody see this? We're just talking to
It was
ourselves.
just about our feet.
That's okay.
We're not
I
really sure.
enjoy
You
your
can watch the
company.
whole video afterwards on the CBC Life page on Facebook. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jillian.